study of the greatest among all the Vedic literatures, the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, before we begin, I shall chant a few prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishthiki ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमा ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम Rama Rama Hare Hare. So I welcome everyone again to today's session on this 18-day program on the summary study of the greatest Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, which contains 12 cantos, 335 chapters, and 18,000 shlokas, is the supreme and the cream of all Vedic knowledge. So we have begun from the first canto, which contains 19 chapters, and at the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the setting is at Naimisharanya. Naimisharanya is like the spiritual headquarters of the entire universe. So just like we have the United Nations General Body Meeting, wherein the leaders of all the different countries and nations come together and then they take on the problems that people are facing throughout the whole world and try to find solutions. So in the same manner, here at Naimisharanya, 5,000 years ago, is like the universal conclave of all the great saintly persons of the entire universe. So all of them have gathered. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.4, Naimishe animisha kshetre rishayaha shaunakadayaha. The leader of the assembly of all these saintly persons of the sages is Shaunaka Rishi. And sometimes spiritualists or transcendentalists are accused by ordinary people to be escapists, that they have escaped from material duties and responsibilities and have taken shelter of spiritual life or spirituality. But that is not a fact. The sages who have assembled here in Naimisharanya, they are neither selfish nor are they any kind of escapists. In fact, we will soon find out from the questions raised by the sages headed by Shaunaka Rishi that they have actually gathered for the ultimate good, for the highest benefit of the entire mankind, of everyone in the entire universe. The sages of Naimisharanya are described to be Paramo Nirmatsaraha, completely free from all enviousness, and they do not have any selfish agenda or any selfish motive. The only purpose for which they have gathered together here at Naimisharanya is to derive, to understand the root cause of all the sufferings of all the living beings in this universe. And they are taking on the problems straight head on and trying to find out the ultimate good and the highest benefit for all the people of this universe. So the sages have assembled and Satkritam Sutamasinam Paprachur Idamadarat. With great reverence, they have seated another great spiritualist, a transcendentalist by name Suta Goswami, also known as the Suta Pauranika, on the seat of the Vyasasana, on the Guru Sthana. They have accepted Suta Goswami as their spiritual master, as their guru. It is also very important and significant to note here that in Sanskrit, Suta means somebody of lower birth. And the sages of Naimisharanya are supposed to be the most advanced spiritualists and transcendentalists, headed by Shaunaka Rishi, who is known to be a very advanced Brahmana. But this great assembly of sages is accepting as their guru, as their spiritual master, somebody who is of a lower birth, known as Suta Pauranika or Suta Goswami. And therefore, it is very clear that in the Vedic society, the different divisions of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra were never on the basis of birth, were never on the basis of mere Janma, but it was always these classifications were by guna and karma, by quality, by culture, and by spiritual advancement. So here we see in this august assembly of the greatest saintly people of the universe, the spiritual master, the guru, the principal speaker of the Bhagavatam is Suta Goswami. So the sages of Naimisharanya, it is stated that they were 88,000 in number. So it was a very, very huge assembly. And Satkritam Sutam Asinam Paprachur Idamadarat. The rishis, the great sages, asked various questions. They put forth various inquiries. Specifically, the sages of Naimisharanya asked 6 questions to Suta Goswami. First of all, they expressed their immense fortune, their immense great fortune of having a great personality like Suta Goswami as their spiritual guide, their spiritual mentor, and their spiritual master. They glorified him to be the best disciple of Veda Vyasa, of all the Suta Goswami was trained and had realized the teachings as taught by all his various gurus and spiritual masters. And hence, Suta Goswami was qualified to answer all the queries of the sages of Naimisharanya. So what are the questions asked by the sages? So beginning from 1.1.9, the sages headed by Shaunaka Rishi ask that Tatra Tatra Anjasa Yushman Bhavata Yad Vinishchitam Pumsam Ekantata Shreyaha Tannaha Shamsitumarhasi. The first question asked by the sages of Naimisharanya is Tatra Tatra, among all the Vedic teachings and all the Vedic scriptures, Pumsam, of all the people in general, Ekantataha Shreyaha, what is the highest benefit, the greatest benefit? Tannaha Shamsitumarhasi, you ought to tell us what is the highest benefit for the entire humanity, for all the people of this world. So we should note here that the sages of Naimisharanya are not asking any selfish question. They do not have any selfish motive to ask anything for themselves. They are asking the highest benefit for the entire humanity. So there are many philosophers who put forth various kinds of philosophical theories. Sometimes they say philanthropic activities, paropakara, or doing good to others is the real platform of all religious principles. And how to do good to humanity, there are many propositions, there are many theories. Some people say that one should build grand hospitals so that one can treat the various diseases of the human society. But the thing is, even if one is free from all diseases, what about the healthy people? What is the ultimate good for all the healthy people, for the diseased people, for the rich people, for the poor people, for the people of the various races, nationalities, religions? What is the one ultimate good for all the people in general? Pumsam ekantata shreyaha tannaha shamsitumarhasi. This is the first question. And now moving to the second question asked by the sages in text number 11, the sages ask, Bhurini bhuri karamani shrotavyani vibhagashaha ataha sadhotra yatsaram samudhritya manishaya bruhi bhadraya bhutanam yenatma suprasidati. The second question, again, a very beautiful inquiry. The sages are asking that please give us the essence, the final conclusion of all the Vedic scriptures, by which yena atma suprasidati, by which the atma, the heart, the soul, suprasidati, can be completely be satisfied. So it is very important to note here that the sages are asking, how can the soul be satisfied? So they have already surpassed the material bodily conception of life. They are not interested in any temporary bodily benefits, but they are directly aiming the question that yena atma suprasidati, by what means, how can the soul be completely be satisfied? This is the second question. The first question was pumsam ekantata shreyaha, what is the highest benefit of all living entities? The second question is what is the means to completely satisfy the atma, the soul? And now the third question, as asked in the 12th and 13th verses of the first canto, first chapter, is Suta janasi bhadram te bhagavan sattvatam patihi devakya vasudevasya jato yasya chikishaya tannaha shushrushamananam arhasi anganuvarnitum yasyavataro bhutanam kshemaya cha bhavaya cha. Now the sages of Naimisharanya specifically, pointedly ask the divine reason for the advent, for the incarnation of the supreme absolute truth, the supreme Brahman, as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. So Krishna, who had just appeared, the sages of Naimisharanya are very eager. What is the main purpose for the descent of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna? They further elaborate on the two most potent and most powerful means for the ultimate deliverance of all the people of this world. The first one in text number 14 as Apannaha samskritim ghoram yannama vivasho ghrinan tatah sadyo vimuchyeta yad bibheti swayam bhayam. The first most powerful means for the deliverance of all the people of this world is the holy name of the Supreme Lord. It is explained in all the Vedic scriptures that Abhinnatvat Nama Naminoho, Krishna being the supreme absolute truth, his personality, his name are Abhinnatvam, are non-different, and therefore the name of Krishna is not an ordinary material sound vibration, but is the most uh, spiritually potent, non-different personification of the supreme absolute truth. And therefore, for all the living entities who are undergoing the most vicious cycle of birth and death in this samsara, in this material world, apannaha samskritim ghoram, this cycle of birth and death in this samsara is mentioned here to be ghoram, very, very dreadful, very, very terrible. Yannama vivasho ghrinan. If anyone, even by some chance, he chants the holy name of Krishna, Yannama vivasho ghrinan sadhyaha vimuchyeta yad bibheti swayam bhayam, one is immediately liberated, one attains the highest perfection of life by the chanting of the holy name of the Supreme Lord. The holy name of the Supreme Lord is so spiritually potent that even fear personified is afraid of the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Swayam bhayam, sakshat bhaya is fearful of the vibration of the holy name of the Supreme Lord. This is not any allegorical statement, but this is the factual realization of the sages, the advanced spiritualists who have come here to Naimisharanya. And the second very, very powerful means of deliverance is stated in the 15th verse as Yat pada samshraya suta munayaha prashamayanaha sadhyaha punantyupasprishta svagdhuni aponu sevaya. And the second most powerful means of deliverance is the Bhagavatas, the followers, the pure devotees of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The first most potent deliverer is the holy name of the Lord, and the second one is the pure devotees of the Lord, who have been compared here to the most sacred holy river Ganga Nadi. That Ganga Nadi, if one takes bath, it may purify a person after a long duration, whereas the pure devotees of the Lord are even more glorified, are even more sanctified than the Ganga river, because they can purify a person instantaneously, immediately. And now, moving on to the fourth question asked by the sages of Naimisharanya is in text number 17. Tasya karmanyudarani parigitani suribhihi Bruhinah Shraddadhananam Leelaya Dadata Kalaha. The sages of Naimisharanya are asking about the narration of the divine pastimes of the divine Leela avatars of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. The Supreme Lord, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text number 7 and 8, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritrāṇāya sadhūnām vināṣāya ca duṣkritāṃ dharma samsthapanārthāya sambhavāmi yuge yuge. The Supreme Lord incarnates repeatedly many times to this material world from his eternal spiritual abode, the kingdom of God. So there are many varieties, many kinds of avatars or incarnations, and the scriptures and the great acharyas have classified the avatars into 6 varieties or 6 categories. They are Gunavataras, Purushavataras, Leelavataras, Shaktyavesh and Manvantara avatars and Yugavatars. So here the sages of Naimisharanya are specifically inquiring about the Leela avatars of the Lord. The fifth question asked by the sages of Naimisharanya is found in text number 18, that Athakhya hi hare dhiman avatara katha shubhaha leela vidadata swairam ishwarasyatma mayaya. Uh, the fifth question of the sages of Naimisharanya concerns the great divine transcendental activities of the Lord in his Purusha incarnations or as Purusha avatars. So, in this way, the sages continue to glorify, they also express their deep, immense gratitude to Suta Goswami. They tell that actually they are most fortunate to have found Suta Goswami as their spiritual master and spiritual guide. They give a very beautiful illustration and an example in text number 22, that Tvamnaha sandarshito dhatra dustaram nistiti shatam kalim sattvaharam pumsam karnadhara ivagnavam. They address Suta Goswami as the captain, Karnadhara, of their ship to cross over the very, very terrible waves of the Kali Yuga of this present age. Actually, this entire material world itself is compared to the samsara sagara, to the ocean of material existence and material tribulations. And in such a terrible, infinite, and endless ocean, one, in order to stay afloat, one needs a strong boat. And it is explained later in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam that Nridehamadhyam uh, Nridehamadhyam Plavam Sukalpam. Uh, Plavam refers to a boat. One needs a strong boat. And that very good boat which can help us cross the samsara sagara, that boat is the human body. Nrideham, Manushya Deha, Manushya Janma is therefore very, very important, as stated by Purandara Dasa. Manava Janma Doddadu, that this human form of life is the most strongest boat by which one can cross this ocean of samsara. But in order to navigate this boat, one needs the help of an expert guide, an expert captain. And who is that captain? An expert guide or captain to navigate the boat in this samsara sagara, to cross over it, is an expert guru or spiritual master. And the sages of Naimisharanya address Suta Goswami to be the captain of their ship, and they are confident that Suta Goswami is the most expert captain to navigate the choppy and very deadly waves of Kali Yuga, of this samsara, and help them cross the ocean of nescience. And moving to the final, the sixth question of the sages of Naimisharanya is in text number 23. They ask, Bruhi Yogeshware Krishne Brahmanye Dharmavarmani Swam Kashtham Adhunopete Dharmaha Kam Sharanam Gataha. That the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Absolute Truth, Shri Krishna, Krishne Swadhamopagate, Krishna has now gone back to his eternal spiritual kingdom, back to his eternal abode. and Krishna being the personification, being the supreme protector of dharma, of all the eternal religious principles. Now, since he has gone back to the spiritual world, back to his kingdom, dharmaha kam sharanam gataha, where have the principles of the eternal principles of dharma, that is sanatana dharma, where are they now? What is the resting place of dharma after Krishna has returned back to the spiritual world? So now, in the second chapter, from the second chapter onwards, Suta Goswami begins to precisely and perfectly answer all the questions asked by the sages of Naimisharanya. So we'll summarize the 6 questions asked by the sages. The first question, the ultimate and absolute good for all people. The second question, the essence of all scriptures by which the soul can be satisfied. The third question, the exact reason for the appearance of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Sri Krishna. The fourth question, the transcendental acts of the Supreme Lord in his Leela avatars. The fifth question, the transcendental activities of the Lord in his incarnations as the Purusha, as the Purushavataras. And the sixth question is the final, the resting place of dharma after the disappearance of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So now let us begin the second chapter, wherein the great sage Suta Goswami now addresses the assembly of the sages headed by Shaunaka Rishi. Suta Goswami begins to speak, but before answering the questions, he first offers his prayers, his respectful obeisances to his guru, to his spiritual master. The spiritual master of Suta Goswami is none other than the prime principal speaker of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that is Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami is the son of the great sage Vyasadeva, the compiler of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Suta Goswami was present in the assembly when Sukadeva Goswami first spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, and therefore Suta Goswami now first remembers and offers his prayers to his guru Sukadeva Goswami in 1.2.2 as Suta Uvacha Yam Pravrajantamanupeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravobhineduhu Tam Sarvabhuta Hridayam Munimanatosmi. Here in this prayer, the beautiful, wonderful narration of the divine appearance of the great sage Sukadeva is also beautifully explained, that Yam Pravrajantam, as soon as Sukadeva Goswami took birth, he started walking away. He left his parents, his father Vedavyasa, his mother, and just started going away because he was supremely situated in vairagya, in complete material detachment. So I would like to take this opportunity to also narrate in a little more further detail the most fascinating story of one of the principal heroes of Srimad Bhagavatam, the main speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami, the great sage Shuka. Shuka in Sanskrit means parrot, and there is a lot of wonderful background for the behind the great sage Sukadeva Goswami. It is explained later in the fourth chapter of the first canto, also in 1.4.5, and also very elaborately in the Skanda Purana in the sixth canto called Nagara Khanda in chapter 147. The beautiful story of Sukadeva Goswami is very beautifully explained and described, that the great sage Veda Vyasa, the compiler of all the Vedas, he was living in his ashram, and Veda Vyasa, most people do not know the name of the wife of Vedavyasa or the mother of Sukadeva Goswami. So this is mentioned in the Skanda Purana in Nagarakhanda chapter 147, that actually Vedavyasa married the daughter of Jabali, whose name was Vatika. So the name of Vedavyasa's wife is Vatika. So Vedavyasa and Vatika, when they were living in their ashram, and Vatika was carrying the child of Vedavyasa. So for a long duration, for a long time, the child willingly, voluntarily chose to remain in the womb of his mother Vatika and refused to take birth. The background story for this is actually that this is not found in the Skanda Purana, but this is a very popular story, that once um, Lord Shiva and Parvati, when they were seated in the Himalayas, specifically at the place called Amarnath, um, Lord Shiva once became very compassionate to Parvati and decided to disclose the most uh, confidential teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is also known as Amara Katha, or the narration which can grant Amaratva or supreme liberation. So, this story, which is Amara Katha, is none other than the narration of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in order to ensure that Parvati was listening attentively, Lord Shiva asked her to respond to his narration. And Lord Shiva was continuously narrating the story of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Parvati was responding. But after some time, Lord Shiva observed that Parvati had actually fallen asleep, and the responsive sound was being made by a small tiny parrot. So Lord Shiva became furious that somebody else, a parrot, had encroached on their privacy and had in fact begun to hear the most confidential part of the entire Vedic knowledge. And he became furious and attacked the tiny parrot, who flew away in great fear to the ashram of Vedavyasa and took shelter of the womb of Vatika. And at that time, when Lord Shiva approached uh, the ashram of Vedavyasa, he was stopped by Vedavyasa, and Vedavyasa very expertly explained to Lord Shiva that since the parrot had already heard the Amara Katha, there was no way, no means to kill that living being, because it had become Amara, it had become immortal. So, in this way, this Shuka, this child was not an ordinary child. It is explained in many places, even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that Sukadeva Goswami was liberated right in the womb of his mother. So, such an exalted, great personality, Sukadeva. He refused to take birth, and when his father, Vedavyasa, the great sage, inquired from the child as to the reason why he was refusing to take birth, The child from within the womb replied that it is afraid of the illusory energy called Maya, that as soon as he would take birth, Maya would capture him, and therefore he thought it safe to remain in the womb of his mother. So he was such an enlightened personality. So then Vedavyasa went to Dwaraka and approached the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and explained the whole situation. And then Sri Krishna personally came to Vedavyasa ashrama and gave assurance to the child in the womb not to worry, that the Supreme Lord Krishna would always protect him and keep him free from any influence of the illusory energy of Maya. And by the Supreme Lord's assurance, finally the child took birth. And as soon as the child took birth, it grew into a young adult of 16 years, and he was so alert not to be captivated by any of the illusory representations of either father, mother, or any attachment of this material world, that he just started walking without even looking back at who his father or mother were. And this is the scene now being described by Suta Goswami in this prayer, that Yam Pravrajantam, as he was walking away, Sukadeva Goswami took birth and he's just walking away. Yam Pravrajantam anupetum apeta krityam dvaipayano. Dvaipayana is another name of Vedavyasa. Viraha katara, out of a feeling of viraha, separation from his just born child, he started calling out to him, "Stop, my dear child, stop, don't go away." He started calling out to him, "Putra, Putra, oh my dear son, stop." But the only response was generated not from Sukadeva, but only from the Taravaha, the trees, which also echoed the same feelings of separation, that even the trees of the forest were astounded, were dumbstruck by this intense feeling of vairagya, of renunciation in Sukadeva Goswami, that he was just walking away from his parents, from his father. Further, it is described in 1.4.5 that as Sukadeva Goswami was walking, Drishtvanuyantam rishimatmajamapyanagnam devyo hriya paridadhugna sutasya chitram tadvikshya pritchati munau jagadustavasti stri pumbhida natu sutasya vivikta drishtehe. Another beautiful narration of the continuation of the story of Sukadeva Goswami is that as Sukadeva Goswami he is just walking away in the forest, Vedavyasa is running behind him, appealing to his son to stop. And at that time, as Sukadeva was walking, he came across a reservoir, a lake of water, where Devis, many women, were young women who had not put on any clothes. They were bathing naked in the water. They were taking bath, and Sukadeva Goswami, also a young boy, without any clothes, he was just walking away after taking birth. He passed, and all the ladies, all the women continued taking bath unaffected, and Sukadeva Goswami passed by that path. After some time, Vedavyasa, who is almost the age of their father or grandfather, passed by, and immediately when the ladies saw Vedavyasa coming, they immediately hastened to, out of embarrassment, out of shyness, and they tried to put on their clothes. When Vedavyasa observed this behavior of the woman, he was surprised. He stopped and he inquired from the woman that, "My son, he passed and you did not show any reaction, and now when I am coming, I am the age of your father or grandfather, you all are covering yourselves up. why are you behaving in this strange manner? And in reply, the women who were taking bath, they uh, answered that Stri Pumbhida Natu Sutasya Vivikta Drishtehe. Actually, your son, he even the woman could understand that he had such vivikta drishti or purified vision that he did not have. He had such purified spiritual vision that he did not even have the distinction between man and woman. He had the vision of exactly looking at the spiritual soul and not at the external coverings, the external distinctions of man, woman, black, white, or any of these material distinctions. But whereas Vedavyasa, although a very advanced spiritualist, he was situated in Grihastha ashrama, so at least for an external etiquette, the women covered themselves up. So such is the advanced transcendental position of Sukadeva Goswami. So in this way, as Sukadeva kept continuing, finally Vedavyasa thought that this boy is so advanced spiritually and completely detached from all material things, neither mother, father, nor any attraction to wealth or woman can actually attract him. So what can attract an already liberated person? So finally it flashed to Vedavyasa that there is only one way to capture the attention of the liberated Sukadeva Goswami. And at that time, Vedavyasa called some people dwelling in the forest and taught them just one shloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and asked them to recite it continuously. So now the dwellers of the forest, they spread out in the forest and began to sing loudly this one shloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is in Canto 3, Chapter 2, text number 23, 3.2.23, which describes the wonderful quality of Sri Krishna, of the Supreme Lord Krishna, of his extreme, of his infinite compassion and mercy. The verse says, Aho bakiyam stanakalakutam jigam sayapyayadapya sadvi lebhe gatim dhatruti uchitam tatonyam kamva dayalum sharanam rajema. This verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam explains the immense, infinite compassion and mercy of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Sri Krishna, that although Putana, the example is given here that uh, uh, Asadhvi, the very, very unchaste and very sinful Putana, came disguised and to Vrindavana in order to feed milk, actually to feed stana kala kutam, a very, very dreadful, deadly poison. But the Supreme Lord Krishna just took that one single quality that Putana had approached him to feed milk as a mother. So Krishna, he sucked her poison as well as her life air, her prana, but gave her the highest mukti, vimukti, liberation, and sent her to the spiritual eternal kingdom of God and gave her the position of his eternal mother. So such is the infinite compassion and mercy of the Supreme Lord even on a person who had approached him with such evil intentions. So, this is just one of the divine infinite qualities of Krishna. And as the forest dwellers were loudly singing this fell on the ears of Sukadeva. And Although he was not attached or attracted to any material thing of this world, as soon as he heard about this quality of Krishna, he was immediately captivated. His liberated being was uh, enraptured by this description of the Supreme Brahman, that he is so merciful and compassionate. And he immediately approached one of the forest dweller and inquired from him as to how he learned such a divine and wonderful instruction. And then the forest dwellers took him back to his father Vedavyasa. And then Sukadeva Goswami surrendered to his father Vedavyasa and requested him to elaborately explain more about the divine qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord, of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Sri Krishna. And at that time, Vedavyasa spoke the same Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit. So, this is the background story of Sukadeva Goswami, and Suta Goswami says, I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sukadeva Goswami, who is also Yasvanubhavam Akhila Shruti Saramekam Adhyatma Deepam Atititi Shatam Tamondham Samsarinam Karunayaha Purana Guhyam Tam Vyasa Sunumupayami Gurum Muninam. Sukadeva Goswami is the guru of all the gurus. Gurum Muninam. He has given, out of his supreme compassion, he has spoken the transcendental divine light, Adhyatma Deepam, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam. This Srimad Bhagavatam is also compared to the supreme guide of entire mankind. Adhyatma Deepam Atititi Shatam Tamondham. This material world is tamo andham, is completely steeped and absorbed in the darkness of ajnana or ignorance. And the one source of transcendental divine light and knowledge is the Srimad Bhagavatam, spoken out of his great mercy by Sukadeva Goswami. And now, before again speaking the Srimad Bhagavatam, first Suta Goswami offered his prayers to his guru, to his spiritual master Sukadeva Goswami, and in 1.2.4 he then offers his obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayana, unto Vedavyasa, unto Mother Saraswati, unto Naranarayana Rishi. He says this is a shloka which is repeated in all the 18 Puranas. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Tato jayam udirayet. In order to gain victory, in order to gain jaya over all material things, one should offer obeisances, one should surrender unto the Supreme Lord Narayana, unto his incarnation Naranarayana. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam, unto Saraswati Devi and unto Vedavyasa, the compiler of all the Vedic scriptures. And now, beginning from 1.2.6, Suta Goswami begins to answer the questions asked by the sages of Naimisharanya. They had asked, what is the highest benefit of the entire humanity? And the second question was, what is the means to completely satisfy the soul? So both the questions are answered by in one verse in 1.2.6, because the highest benefit and the only means to satisfy the soul is one. What is that? So here we find the answer as Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yaya atma suprasidati. So both the questions, paro dharmaha, the highest pumsam ekantata shreya, the highest benefit for all living beings is the answer is given, as well as yaya atma suprasidati, by which the soul is satisfied. And what is that? Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktiradhokshaje. It is bhakti, it is pure devotional service to Adhokshaja. Adhokshaja is another name of the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna. Akshaja means that which is derived from the material letters of combinations from A to Ksha. And Adhokshaja means one who is beyond the material expression of all the composition of words and phrases and statements. So, bhakti hi adhokshaji, pure devotional service to Krishna is the supreme highest benefit and is the only means to completely satisfy the soul. But that bhakti should be is qualified by two things. It should be ahaituki, it should be causeless, unmotivated, and apratihata, it should be uninterrupted. It should be pure, unalloyed devotional service without any tinge of any material desires or material selfish motivations, and it should be uninterrupted. Bhakti or devotional service is not some kind of a part-time activity. It is the dedication of kaya, vacha, manasa. It is a dedication of one's body, speech, mind. It is the it is the complete and everlasting, as explained in the Bhagavad Gita, satatam kirtayantaha tesham nityabhiyuktanam. So it is uninterrupted and it is ahetuki. Ahetuki means, hetu means some cause. Normally people take up some activity because they are driven by some cause, they have some motivation behind it. But pure bhakti is unalloyed, is unmotivated, it is completely free from all material desires. And such pure devotional service immediately satisfies the soul and the heart. One may then question that what about the other transcendental, uh, other divine qualities of renunciation, of detachment, of divine knowledge? So it is assured in the 7th verse that Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yadahetukam, that simply by rendering transcendental devotional service to Krishna, automatically detachment, divine knowledge, everything is revealed in the heart of a devotee. And therefore, dharmasya hi apavargasya nagthogthayopakalpate, all religious activities must be aimed only at attaining liberation from material bondage and never for economic development. Many times people practice some sort of religiosity with the intention of advancing on the economic path. They go to temple, mosque or church and pray that please bestow me some material benediction. But here it is very clearly stated that uh, religious activity is never meant for economic advancement or development, but its sole purpose, the only objective of practicing spiritual or religious activity should be aimed at attaining moksha or liberation, here known as apavarga or freedom from pavarga. This is a very interesting thing. Liberation is sometimes explained in the Vedic scriptures as apavarga. In the Sanskrit Varnamala, in the alphabet, there is the vargas, and pavarga is pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. So this material world, material existence is described to be pavarga. Pavarga means the five conditions of pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. So what is that pa, pha, ba, bha, ma here referred to in context of material bondage? It is pa stands for parishrama, that in material existence everyone has to take a lot of effort or parishrama. There is a saying in the Hitopadesha that nahi suktasya simhasya mrige pravishantihi mukhaha mukhe pravishantihi mrigaha, that a simha or a lion, although being the king of the forest, cannot just lie down and say that I am the king of the forest and let the animals come and fall into my mouth. Even the lion has to work hard to get its prey, to get its food. So likewise, everyone in this material world has to take a lot of parishrama, has to work hard, to the point of coming to the next letter, that is phena, pha. Pa leads to pha. Pha is phena, means the foam that comes from one's mouth. When one is driven to extreme exhaustion by taking immense effort, one is exhausted to such an extent that just like foam may come from one's mouth. So this is the nature of this material world, that it not only forces one to work hard, but it pushes one to the wall of desperation and complete breakdown. That is called phena. Uh, parishrama and phena, complete exhaustion, desperation. We find many times even people committing suicides at such an alarming rate. In fact, the most advanced countries have a much higher suicide rate than the developing or the underdeveloped countries. So this material existence itself is such that it has parishrama, phena, immense effort, and then one is completely exhausted and is pushed to the limits of exhaustion and desperation. And after all this, what is the reward? One may think that one may make big slogans like work is worship, kaya kave kailasa, and all that. But my dear sir or madam, please understand that this samsara sagara, this material world and material existence is so cruel that although you may do work as worship, you may be pushed to exhaustion and desperation. What is the final, what is the result of all that work? Pa, pha, lead to ba. Ba means bandhana. Ba stands for bandhana or bondage. How much ever work you may do, it will only lead to more and more bandhana, material bondage. So there is parishrama, phena, bandhana, pa, pha, ba, and then the next letter is bha. Bha, which stands for bhaya. Material existence is such that there is always a great amount of fear. There is always fear. Now we have the fear, the great fear of pandemic, epidemic, COVID-19, and all kinds of fear. It's not that fear was less earlier. There was the fear of disease, there was a fear of lifestyle diseases, and the fear of death itself, the fear of loss, the fear of breakup, the fear. There's so much fear in this world. So there is pa, pha, ba, bha, parishrama, phena, bandhana, bhaya, and finally the final gold medal, the final trophy given by samsara, by the material world, by Maya, to all the living beings in this world is the final gift given by material existence to all the living being is ma standing for mrityu or marana. After doing so much effort to the point of exhaustion and desperation, being caught in material bondage, bandhana, always being in bhaya, fearful, and finally, what is the big trophy that we get in this material world? It is the garland of mrityu or death. Finally, everyone has to die. So, this is the sum and substance of this material world, this material existence, pa pha ba bha ma, known as pavarga. Is there any solution to this? Yes, and that solution should be the aim of all religious activity. It is not to become more and more entangled in material activities. So the Bhagavatam 1.2.8 very clearly says, Dharmasya hi apavargasya. That dharma is meant for apavarga, to become free from the material conditions of pavarga and attain moksha, known as apavarga, the opposite of pavarga, and to go back home, back to the spiritual world, the eternal kingdom, the spiritual world of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So we shall continue further tomorrow. Yesterday and today's questions would be combined together, and tomorrow I shall present the answers by afternoon. So if you have any questions about today's session also, you can please post them in the WhatsApp group or in the comments box. Please do subscribe to our channel, and we shall meet again tomorrow. Please do join us for the continuation of the wonderful narration of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.